and welcome to a brand new season of The Breakdown with Bethany. I'm Bethany Braun Silva, and it's season 2. And I'm going to be bringing you even more celebrities, experts, and entrepreneurs, all with the hope to inspire you to live your best life. Now, the first episode of season 2 is a big one. I'm going to be welcoming actress Cobie Smulders, who has starred in hit shows like How I Met Your Mother, and of course, the Marvel movie franchise. We're going to be talking about staying positive and building resilience in our kids, so you're not going to want to miss it, and you're not going to want to miss this entire season, so stay tuned. Let's jump in and tell me about the Colgate Smile Fund and why this was a good partnership, a good fit for you to team up with.
Well, first of all, good dental hygiene has always been in my life because my father was a dentist. And so I don't have a cavity. First of all, I don't have a single cavity. So toothpaste works, guys, and so does flossing. But yeah, so it's always been in my world. I've always had awareness of it. I've always known its importance. I've like used Colgate for like my entire adult life. So when they came to me, I was so happy to, first of all, just promote their brand because it's a brand that I use. And again, like going back to just being good about dental hygiene, I love it. But then they were talking to me about the Colgate Smile Fund, which is doing amazing things. Right now, they've given a grant to City Year, which is a organization that provides mentoring to schools around the country, and with a focus on socio-emotional learning. We've just come off, we're still kind of in this insane sort of pandemic life, but we're trying to find out what our new normal is. And it's challenging for everybody. And obviously everybody's dealing with it on varying degrees, but I think it's just the kids have really taken a hit. And, my own kids were in Zoom school, and we were lucky enough to be in a Zoom school program. But it's, I think it's time to sort of bolster not only their education in the classroom and getting them back into classrooms, but also just helping them deal with what's happening mentally, what's happening emotionally, to go from being isolated to then jumping back in and trying to find new friends and keeping and nurturing relationships it's sort of a skill that has to be constantly exercised. And so yeah, I was really excited when they came to me to talk about this program. And I think that any mother who's listening or reading or whatever is to see if they can find to connect with City Year and see if they can get it in their own school.
Yeah, I'm a mom myself, and dealing with, pandemic learning and struggles was one thing. And then I think it's hard to say when we got our bearings. It feels like we never got our bearings throughout the pandemic. But when I was sort of able to come up for air, one of the most alarming things that I discovered or was reading about was the impact of, mental health in our kids because of the pandemic. And I know you have a teenager. So I'm wondering, what were your concerns there? How do you address that with your own child? Is that a conversation you guys are having around mental health awareness, maybe cyberbullying, anything like that? If you could just offer a few tips or thoughts on that, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I might be a youthful looking woman, but I'm actually inside an 80-year-old woman. So like, we don't do a lot of screens. There's no social media in, certainly there is for me and my husband, but we don't allow it for our children. So in terms of the cyberbullying, which is just like, it's terrifying, we don't have that happening because they don't have access to it yet, which I would highly recommend. But it's a tricky time. I mean, the thing that I constantly do with myself is play the game of, hey, Cobie, do you remember when you were 13? Do you remember like how at times you just kind of felt like an insane person? And chemically you are, like there's so many changes happening in your body and in your brain. And so I often reflect back to 13-year-old Cobie, and I was a monster. So also it is helpful to be like, my kids are great. Like I am not, like they are so well behaved, and they're not doing half of the stuff I was doing at their age. So I play that. In terms of supporting them, I think it's like, I think what you were kind of touching upon, which is just, it's not over. It's kind of over, this pandemic. And so I think it's what the pandemic has certainly brought up for me is the ability to pivot more, and the ability to deal with disappointment. And I think that I try to. It's not perfect. It's not a perfected skill, but lead by example. And certainly we have bad days and good days. And on the bad days, I say, hey, I'm having a bad day and I'm sorry. And I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have reacted in this way. And that wasn't right when I did this. So I do try to do that. But I think it's also about staying present within what is today like. Okay, today's a great day. Let's celebrate that. Okay, today was a bad day. Let's be in that. And yeah, I think that's been helpful for me, because anytime I try to plan or look ahead, it gets an idea is created in your mind of what that experience is going to be. And so I found that if you're just kind of day to day, let's make breakfast together, let's go for a walk on the beach together, or we're going to this camp today, whatever it is, if you're just kind of able to sit and enjoy that, it's a little healthier, I find, or a little easier.
I apologize to my kids multiple times a day. I feel like sometimes, but
as soon as they came out of me, I'm like, I am sorry. It's gonna be a bumpy road. I'm learning, guys. We're in this together.
I know. It's like I feel like my kids are 6 and 10, and I still feel like new parent. I'm still a new parent. But anyway, yeah. I know part of the Colgate campaign is sort of about building resiliency and positivity in our kids. But I'm wondering and for moms, this is a conversation that we are constantly talking about, in the media and the news. But when you're having a bad day for yourself, like, how do you get yourself out of it? Or do you not? And what do you do when you are just like not feeling like being a mom today, or just dealing with some really heavy stuff?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I am only grateful for the mom role, because I think the mom role forces you on those bad days to be like, well, somebody's got to make breakfast today, and so I got to get them to school. And so it's, on a personal level, it sort of forced me to focus, right, and to prioritize. I think it's, I think it's okay to wallow in it when bad stuff happens. I mean, you can't have the good without the bad. So I'm always just sort of like, this is a bad day. And that's just, let's acknowledge that, and it will pass. I think that's also the sort of the mantra, right? This is not going to last forever. This is not going to last forever. And so it's I don't have a problem sitting in bad things. I sort of am a believer in, like, let's acknowledge that this is a bad moment, and then we can kind of move forward from it and learn from it too, right? Like, if you're just trying to be like, how do we get out of this? How do we just bounce right back? It's like, well, we should also just acknowledge this and soak it in and see what that actually feels like.
Yeah. And something I love to ask moms, especially, it's what do you hope, and it's hard to pin down one thing, but what are you really hoping we talk about key takeaways, stuff like that, but what do you hope that you really are passing down to your kids right now? If they were asked, what is the one thing you've learned from your mother? What do you hope that they would say?
Oh, Lordy. What do I hope they would say?
It's interesting too, because we don't always give ourselves like a lot of the credit. So I feel like we're sort of turning it on you to 100%. Sort of say,
100%.
What are your positive?
I'm also Canadian, so like I can't even take a compliment about anything. So it's hard for me to be like, I'm great at this. I think it's like, I've had experiences. I've had to deal with really scary. I had ovarian cancer when I was 25 years old. Like, I've had these like sort of, are we continuing on with life, or is this it kind of moments? And I think because of that, I have really tried to soak it all in. Again, going back to being present within moments and also just like having fun. I think that this day and age, there's a lot of pressure on all of us, right? There's a lot of pressure on all of us but I think especially on kids to succeed, um, to carve their own path, and I certainly felt that when I was younger. But you have to enjoy this life because we only get one. So I'm hoping, I don't know if they're gonna actually take that away, but I hope that they can kind of take some positivity and like, move forward through life with a smile and be a good. That's it. I just thought it. It's all that stuff, but I just got it. Be a good human, like be a decent, kind, empathetic human. That goes above all else. Like just be a nice, don't be a jerk. Do not be a jerk. It's a no jerk policy. That's number one. Also a lot, like have a great time, right?
Yeah.
But be a good, decent human and help others. Yeah.
Love it. I'm going to put it on a pillow or something. We'll get that embroidered.
Let's get to embroider. Let's start a new hobby.
Yeah. All right, wrapping up here, but really quick. I know a lot of How I Met Your Mother castmates are also parents. I have envisioned you guys like on this crazy group chat sharing like parenting tips at all. Do you get any kind of like parenting advice or tips?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I came into the parenting game, and I think Neil hadn't had his twins yet, but was in that space because I was younger than everybody, and I sort of had my first child young. But Allie had her daughter maybe a month or two before me, so it was really helpful to sort of go like, okay, that's coming. Okay, that's coming. And it was really cool to both be on the show and sort of supporting each other through our pregnancies. And then still to this day, I mean, Neil is unfortunately in New York, so we're on other coasts, but Allie is here, and we attend volleyball games together and all sorts of things. So we're very supportive to each other in that.
I love to hear that. Final question. My son is a huge, huge Marvel fan.
Who isn't, Bethany? Who isn't?
I can tell you. I mean, like Guardians of the Galaxy, all of them. Anyway, so he's really excited about me talking to you. But I have to also ask, any upcoming projects in the Marvel universe, anything like that?
Yeah, I'm going to be in a series called Secret Invasion that will be out on Disney Plus. I don't know when, but Comic-Con is this coming weekend, so he's going to get like a hefty dose of intel and information. So I think they'll probably be announcing when things are airing, but I'll be in that, and I think it comes out later this year, maybe, hopefully. But it's Samuel L. Jackson's sort of show, and it's a really cool one.
Awesome. I can't wait. If you have the information, you want to share it now about Colgate.
Oh yeah, I think we kind of got to the fund, and that I just want to make sure that people take advantage of City Year as an organization for their kids. And if they don't have it as a program in their school, so they should look into it.
Great. Awesome. I'll share all that information when
Thank you for that.
Share this video. So Cobie, thank you so much. This was such a thrill.
Lovely to talk with you. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.